This is pretty incredible. Come take a look over here. So again, this jail is designed to hold around 800 people according to Philippine standards, some 200 plus inmates according to United Nations standards, and there are currently more than 4,000 people being incarcerated here awaiting trial. And this is one of the programs done basically to try to keep people in shape and arguably sane in these incredibly overcrowded conditions. And by dancing like this and singing, we're told that the inmates score points and get to work towards earlier release from the jail where they're awaiting trial. So take a look here how people get into this. Good. I've never seen anything like this before. Prison rock? I don't know quite what else to call this. They're clearly very proud of their performances. This man has a t-shirt calling Mahala Gang, that's the name of the dance troupe at this jail. And again, let me stress that this is a detention facility. It's designed to hold 800 inmates according to Philippine standards. According to United Nations standards, 278 inmates. And today there is a total of 4,053 people crammed into this small space. People who are now singing and dancing, some of them with very big smiles on their faces. So let's talk about the situation here. The people that are being held here, again, they're awaiting trial at Manila's Quezon City jail. Now, according to the statistics that have been given to me, more than nearly 60% of the detainees here are being held on drug-related charges. And just remember, nobody here has been proven guilty yet in court. They are still awaiting trial. Now, the already overcrowded situation here is getting more crowded because since the newly elected president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, took office on July 1st, he has mounted a deadly campaign to try to stamp out illegal drugs in this country. So the number of inmates here has expanded significantly from 3,884 people in July to now 4,053. And the majority of the new people brought in are being brought in on drug-related charges and being held at detention centers like this across the Philippines. We've already visited one of these detention facilities, these jails, in the city of Tanawan, where cells that had been built for 30 people had on average 50 or more people inside the jail cells. And we were there with the mayor. He was surprised at how overcrowded the situation was in a brand new jail there. Now, a question from a viewer. Are the authorities working on building bigger jails? We've been speaking with the director of operations here. This is Mr. Dogiles, who's been talking to us, and he showed us plans for a proposal of a much larger jail here in Quezon City, which would house some 5,000 or more inmates. Has that plan been approved yet, sir?
Yes, already the local government, headed by Mayor Herbert Bautista, already brought the land. So we have already now the planning stage.
How long until it would be launched and operational?
Yes, it will be estimated to build in about 2019.
2019. Thank you very, very much. Again, this is Mr. Dogiles, who is an officer here in charge of operations. So it's going to take another at least 3 years before the inmates here can move to a larger facility that could house a larger number of people. In the meantime, again, this is a very overcrowded facility, and the authorities here working to try to deal with some of the challenges here. Let's take another question from a viewer.
What is the percentage of people in this prison who are?
Okay, this is something I answered just a moment before. About 60% of the 4,000 plus people being held here are being held on drug-related charges. You also have about 6.7% on charges of theft, some 5.3% on charges of breaking a city ordinance, and about 5% on charges of murder, 3.8% on charges of robbery, 3% on charges of rape. But the vast majority here are on drug-related charges. And that brings me back to part of the reason why we are currently in the Philippines. It is a anti-drug campaign mounted by the new president of the country, who is trying to eradicate illegal drugs from the country. According to official statistics, about 1.3 million Filipinos out of a population of about 100 million are drug users. Let's take another question.
What is the new president doing
About, okay, so the new president has vowed to crack down on drugs. He campaigned on this policy and has followed through in his first 7 weeks in office. The statistics are really striking. The police, in just 7 weeks, have carried out 6,000 operations. They've arrested 9,267 people. Some of those people have been brought in here, several hundred of them, in just the last month and a half. There have been 580,000, what the police are calling voluntary surrenders, and this is where it gets very questionable and where the new administration is coming under quite a deal of criticism, not only from human rights activists, but as of this week, from United Nations human rights special rapporteurs, because according to official police statistics, in 7 weeks, the police have killed at least 659 suspects, all the police claim, in self-defense. And that mounting number of people killed, the mounting body count, is raising real questions from human rights activists and even from some branches of the Philippines government. There will be a Senate inquiry beginning next week asking about this unprecedented number of police killings, which the police claims is all being done in self-defense when suspects resist arrest. Another question.
Are there health concerns because of the overcrowding?
There are health concerns here. Let's move this way, Kathy. Up here on the second floor is an isolation ward for people who've been diagnosed with tuberculosis. So according to the jail officials here, there are at least 79 people, right, sir? 79 people in the isolation ward?
Inmates now suffer the contagious disease about tuberculosis.
And most of them are tuberculosis,
Yes.
right? So is that the biggest health risk to people here?
Yeah, the most basically contagious disease right now in Quezon
Okay.
City jail.
Thank you very much. So the biggest contagious disease, which can run rampant in overcrowded situations like this, tuberculosis. And this is the second jail facility that we've been to now that has a tuberculosis ward for detainees suffering from the disease. Another question then.
Is marijuana a big problem in this country? Is it legal? What's this?
Okay, the question about the drugs. Again, according to official statistics from the Dangerous Drug Board, 1.3 million Filipinos out of a population of 100 million, that's around 1%, are drug takers. The number one drug that people take here that is illegal is methamphetamines, or shabu, and that is really the drug that the new president and the security forces are targeting right now. Next in line is marijuana, and I'm not up to date on whether or not marijuana is legal right now in the Philippines. I'm being told it's not legal in this country, but the number one drug that the authorities are targeting, that's shabu, methamphetamines, which is sold in little packets for the equivalent of just about $4 or $5, though the price has started to go up as the crackdown, the deadly crackdown, continues in the streets of Philippine cities.
What is the detention time and how long do trials take?
Now, this is the second. The question is, what is the detention time? This is the second jail we've been to. I talked to inmates at a previous jail who had been incarcerated for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, one man even 9 years awaiting trial. So that is part of the reason why all of these people, these detainees, are technically innocent, presumed innocent until proven guilty. Do you get that then? So some people are being incarcerated in these incredibly overcrowded and very difficult conditions with tuberculosis, one of the health threats here, awaiting trial, and they may not even be proven guilty in court for the charges that they were detained on. That's a very difficult situation for people to be in. Let's get another question.
Where are the drugs coming from?
That's another important question in the war on crime, the 7-week war on crime. Where are the drugs coming from? According to Philippines authorities and according to the chief of police who I interviewed this week, they are coming, especially the methamphetamines, he named China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. However, there are also signs that there is some domestic production of shabu, methamphetamines, the most commonly used illegal drug out on the streets here in the Philippines.
What is the age range of people in this prison? Who's the youngest here?
Let me check the statistics that have been given to me. One of the questions is the age range of the people who are held here. Let me check the statistics here. One point that's important here at Quezon City Jail in Manila, which has, according to Philippine standards, a capacity of 800 inmates, and the current capacity is 4,053. So it is more than 13,000% over capacity. Men only being held at this detention center. Men only being held, no women here. The ages of the inmates are from 18 years old up to... Sir, what is the maximum age of people being held at this jail?
Yeah,
About 70?
I think 82 years old.
82. So one of the eldest people here is 82 years old, to give you a sense. That's ranging from 18 years old all the way up to 82 years old. Men only here, though there are some transgender inmates, I was told earlier, at this facility as well, because according to their passport, the gender on their birth certificate, that dictates what kind of a jail facility somebody would be held at. So again, let's just give people a sense who may be tuning in of where we are. This is the Quezon City Jail in the Philippines capital, Manila. It is one of the most overcrowded jails possibly in the world, with a capacity of 800, according to Philippine standards, according to United Nations standards, 200, and the current population in this jail, 4,053.
What are the conditions here? Are there any human rights issues?
Well, I got a briefing. There's a question about human rights issues. And I got a briefing from the Director of Operations here. They are working with the Philippines Red Cross, the International Red Cross, on issues like human rights. And so the guards are clearly very up to date on international standards. But if you just take a look at the overcrowding here and human rights that would likely be afforded and international standards to an inmate, somebody who hasn't been proven guilty yet in a court of law, well, you got to question the the rights of people here, some of whom may very well be innocent, are supposed to be presumed innocent, and the overcrowding conditions that they're living in, some of them for years at a time. Give you some more statistics here. A vast number of these inmates, out of the 4,000 here, more than 1,600 are eligible for bail, but simply can't afford bail to be released back out in the streets to await trial.
Can you talk about the nationalities? Apparently there were some foreign prisoners, but they've already been transferred. The question was, are there any foreign prisoners?
Okay. The question now is about the nationalities of some of the inmates here, of some of the prisoners here. And again, nobody here has been convicted yet of their charges which they were detained for. According to statistics from 2 days ago, the vast majority of the inmates here were Philippine citizens. There were 4 Indian nationals here, but I'm being told that they have since been transferred to another location. So everybody we're seeing here are from the Philippines. And let's take a look again around some of the facilities here. The main courtyard here, where we incredibly saw a performance just about 10 minutes ago, a very exuberant one, where inmates here were singing and dancing in unison, which is part of a daily exercise routine conducted here at the Quezon City Jail.
So the bail is around $300.
Okay. There's another question about what is bail. I'm being told that the average bail that would let the more than 1,000 people here who are eligible for bail, the average bail is the equivalent of around $300. So you've got hundreds, in fact more than 1,000 people eligible for bail, and if the average is that sum, these people cannot pay hundreds of inmates here the bail to be released while awaiting trial, in some cases for years.
Last question is, are the prisoners segregated by the severity of their crimes, or are they just kind of together? And that's the last question we'll have.
Okay. Let me ask that of the Director of Operations here. And again, we want to thank you for your hospitality here and the access here and being able to work here. You're Superintendent Joey Dugiles, right?
That's correct. I'm jail senior inspector.
Okay.
Joey Dugiles.
So a question for you. Are the inmates separated according to the severity of their crimes?
Actually, right now, we have this classification system. But right now, they will be in their group according to their gangs right now.
And let me ask you, as a jail officer here, what are some of the biggest challenges for you and your staff here when you have such an overcrowded situation?
Actually, the most challenging part here is to manage about 4,000 inmates here inside, about how to maintain peace and order here inside the facility. But for us, jail officers here, headed by our warden, right now, we're doing our best to have a constant dialogue for their different cell leaders, for us to have this to maintain peace inside the jail.
And do you have any numbers for how often violent incidents take place in Quezon City Jail?
We just have some isolated violence here, about once a year only, for some riots for different gangs, or just some misunderstanding. Yeah, for the cause of overcrowding, sometimes there's just been conflict. Some other inmates also.
And since the new president took office on July 1st and started his war on illegal drugs, the population here has grown by several hundred people, mostly on drug charges. Is that putting additional pressure on this already overcrowded facility?
Yeah, actually, we're almost congested about 1,353% right now. Well, if you compare about May of 2016, there's an average inmate population of about 3,692, and right now we are almost 4,053. So a very huge, about 9 to 10% increase in the jail population.
And you're getting more prisoners every day.
Yeah, we have getting more commit inmate here every day, and aside from that, we have a coordination to the local judge, to the executive judge of the Quezon City, to immediate release of some other inmates already convicted of some other their crimes. Aside from that, to transfer to the other jail facility, they're part of the decongestion program.
Okay. Sir, thank you again for your cooperation here. So I think we're going to wrap up here, but once again, we've been coming to you live from Quezon City Jail in the Philippines capital, Manila, an incredibly overcrowded detention facility for people awaiting trial, and we've been treated to a remarkable, that's first in my reporting career, experience, a performance by some of the 4,000 plus inmates held here, part of their daily exercise routine to keep people healthy and frankly sane in these insanely overcrowded conditions. Thank you very much from the CNN team here and from the staff at the Quezon City Jail. I'm Ivan Watson reporting from Manila.